Welcome friends. Now we will discuss about cardiovascular system. In human being, the cardiovascular system is a closed circuit where it will be closed circulation. Cardiovascular system, as name suggests, cardio means the heart, vascular means blood vessels, system means a collection of these three, the heart, the blood vessels and the blood. All these three constitutes the cardiovascular system. We study about cardiovascular system now, starting with heart. Heart is a muscular system which is having a special muscles called as cardiac muscles, which has its own indigenous mechanism of heart pumping, which we will study sometime later. This heart contains 4 chambers: right atrium, right ventricle, left atrium and left ventricle. So, all these 4 chambers, they work in sync with each other, to one to receive the deoxygenated blood and other one to pump the oxygenated blood to the different parts of the body. Starting with the left ventricle, if you start with the left ventricle pumps the oxygenated blood to the aorta. From the aorta there will be blood circulation or blood pipelines, you can say, blood vessels we call arteries. Arteries are thick in nature, which will carry the blood away from the heart. Arteries are thick, they are all more inside, which will carry the blood away from the heart to the different parts of the body. And progressively, when near to the heart, all the blood vessels will be bigger, and progressively when it reaches to the head, when it reaches to the arms or extremities, it will become small and small. So, each artery is named after the area where it is there, like for example, carotid artery, vertebral artery, thoracic arteries, iliac arteries, all femoral arteries, something like that. And the deoxygenated blood carrying vessels, we call it as veins, which contains deoxygenated blood. The veins are collapsible, thin, not strong as that of arteries, and there is a junction of the artery ending. Artery, bigger artery we call artery, smaller artery we call arteriole, and the same bigger artery will become small progressively, and after that towards the end it will become in the form of capillaries or mixture of the capillaries with the different cells, where the oxygenation of the blood will become entered, it will complete, and these arterioles and then capillaries, junction of arterioles and the venules, and then it will become venules, small veins we call it as venules, and then bigger veins, and this will carry the deoxygenated blood to the heart again. So, I mentioned heart, oxygenated blood from the left ventricle will go to the different parts of the body, and from the upper part of the body it will come back in the form of superior vena cava. From the lower part of the body it will come in the form of inferior vena cava. The blood will be poured into the right atrium. So, this is a deoxygenated blood will be poured into the right atrium. From the right atrium it will go into the right ventricle. From the right ventricle it will be pushed to the pulmonary circulation, it will go and get oxygenated. Now, you remember when we were discussing about respiratory system, I told you about the bronchi, bronchioles will become progressively small bronchioles, and at last it will become respiratory bronchiole, then alveoli. Alveoli are covered with the smaller parts of the blood vessels called as arterioles. The gas exchange happens here between the alveoli and the blood vessels. So, this one we call it as internal respiration or gas exchange. This exchange of gas, it will bring the oxygenated blood back towards the left atrium, and then it will send into the left ventricle, and then the cycle continues. The cycle where the heart contracts is called as systole. When the heart relaxes, we call it as diastole. Unlike other muscles of the body, heart is a muscle where it starts beating much more before we are born, and it will keep beating till we die, and it will only stop when we die. So, this needs enough strength for the heart to pump, and it has a specific group of stimulus, electrical signal generation contents we call SAN, sino-auricular node, AVN and Purkinje fibers. So, with these three SAN, AVN and Purkinje fibers, the all electrical activity of the heart is maintained, and heart will produce the systole sound, we call it as lub, diastole sound we call it as dub. So, lub dub is a systole diastole or contraction relaxation of the heart. Next